Hey guys, IceKill here. Now you may be thinking to yourself, that's odd, this channel used to go by Cypher Sensei. Now let me clear up a bit before we get to this 7-year-old story. It's been a while. I had stopped making what ifs at one point because I had insane writer's block for both My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball. But with the release of Dragon Ball Daima in late 2024 to early 2025, as well as My Hero Academia's current ongoing season, I decided to get into things as much as I can. For now, I intend to use gameplay from games related to the topics, for example Sparking Zero or Fighters for Dragon Ball stories and One's Justice series for My Hero Academia stories as background footage while the main focus is the story. But with that being said, I've rebranded to IceKill now. Hopefully I stay for a while. Let's get back into the story. Where we had last left off, Class 1A with the help of All Might had warded off the League of Villains from their USJ attack. Aizawa, who is wrapped in bandages, walks into the class the following day. He explains to the students about the upcoming UA Sports Festival and how it's a great chance to showcase their abilities to hero agencies across Japan in hopes of getting scouted. As Ida, Midoriya, and Uraraka are walking to the cafeteria for lunch, Midoriya is pulled aside by All Might, who reviews what occurred during the USJ attack. He thanks Deku for the major role he played as his air manipulation helped speed up the evacuation immensely. Toshinori begins to get more serious. Young Midoriya, my time as a symbol of peace is coming to an end. I needed a successor to uphold the peace, which is why I chose you. I am sure you feel the same way you felt the day I made you my successor, which is why I need you to take advantage of the upcoming sports festival. All of Japan is watching. I need them to let you know that you, Izuku Midoriya, are here. Midoriya would take this to heart, promising to win the whole thing and make his presence known. Jumping back to the UA Sports Festival, to be completely honest, it's a complete breeze for Deku initially, pun intended. They begin the obstacle course strongly, with Todoroki freezing all the 0-point robots from the entrance exam. Izuku would quickly realize that the robots were frozen in a way that would cause them to fall, and worrying for everyone else's safety, he would create a bunch of Nimbus clouds for the robots to fall on, preventing anyone from being crushed. Once he can assure everyone is safe, he raises the cloud so that everyone can pass through safely, before using full cowling at his max of 20% to sprint ahead, catching up to Todoroki. This would carry on for a while until they reach the tightrope area. At this point, Izuku decides to fully showcase his abilities with One for All as well as air manipulation. He takes a huge leap into the air and takes off in flight. Bakugo, seeing this, decides to up the ante, using his explosions to further propel him in pursuit of Izuku. Todoroki unfortunately doesn't have a method of flight like Bakugo or Midoriya, so he just creates a solid ice path to slide forward on as fast as possible. This carries on for the rest of the race, leading to Izuku coming in first, Bakugo coming in second, and Todoroki in hot pursuit in third. Or should I say cold pursuit, as he still currently refuses to use his fire strike. The rest of the positions are the same as the original story. Moving forward to the cavalry battle, Deku has similar problems finding team members as the original, just for different reasons. Since in this story he has showcased his quirks and his abilities and people can put their trust into him, everyone wants to work with him, with the exceptions of Ida, Todoroki, and Bakugo, who are viewing him as a rival. This puts a lot of different potential strategies in his head. Eventually, Deku settles on a final 4-man squad. Like in canon, he has Uraraka and Tokoyami. Uraraka's purpose being to aid in movement by making all the other members lighter, and Tokoyami to attack omnidirectionally with Dark Shadow for aided defense. Where we begin to diverge from the original storyline is Deku is also a horse at the bottom, using his manipulation for air on flight and Nimbus clouds to escape. Finally, the writer in this story is Mineta, making it Team Mineta, whose goal is to use his pop-up balls to trap those who are in pursuit of them. Their strategy is similar to that of canon, running till the time runs out. In this story, the strategy works incredibly, with them avoiding most other teams in the air. Bakugo would attempt to grab the points from Mineta by flying up to reach them, but Dark Shadow would swat him away and Deku can use gusts to pressurize the air to blow him away. Eventually, this would lead to Team Mineta being cornered by Team Todoroki. Izuku is able to blow away any ice sent their way by Todoroki, while Dark Shadow fends off Kaminari's electricity and Yaoyorozu's projectiles. Ida eventually only sees one option to defeat Deku, and he uses a secret technique he had been hiding. He shouts out Reciprocal Burst, charging forward at Team Mineta at speeds no one could react to. Just before Todoroki could reach Mineta's headband and claim their points, they stop abruptly. The entirety of Team Todoroki is confused, looking down at the ground, and this is where they see the cause of the problem. They had stepped on one of Mineta's pop-up balls. Being stuck in place and unable to reach the headband, Team Mineta is able to wait out the remaining 60 seconds in peace. This allows for the placings at the end of the cavalry battle to follow. In first place, we have Team Mineta. In second place, Team Bakugo. Third place, Team Todoroki. And fourth place, Team Shinzo. Following this, two members of Team Shinjo, one of them being Ojiro from Class 1A, drop out, allowing for two members from Team Tetsu to join in. Now, the sports festival, for the most part, goes in the same as it would in canon, and the only fights that would really change a bit would be the fights that Deku is in, because everyone else's powers are basically the same, except for Deku, who has a whole extra power on him right now. So moving on to the main round of the sports festival, we start with Deku vs Shinzo. This fight takes place the same way it does in the original, like most tournament matches will, up until the point where Deku sees the previous users of One For All. This snaps him out of the trance caused by Shinzo's brainwashing quirk. Once he's snapped out of the effect of his quirk, Deku realizes that he cannot talk to him to avoid getting mind control again. Wanting to wrap things up quickly, Izuku wraps Shinzo up in the air, trapping him in place. He then forms a Nimbus Cloud under Shinzo's feet, which then moves him to force him out of the bound, granting the victory to Class 1A's Izuku Midoriya. The next match that differs enough from the original to cover is Izuku vs Shoto. The match begins like in canon with Todoroki sending ice pillars in Izuku's direction. Seeing this, Deku uses his air bullets to shatter the ice before rushing in with 10% full Howling to punch Todoroki. This sends the half-hot, half-cold boy tumbling until he creates an ice wall that stops his tumble right before he ends up out of bounds. This sparse goes on for a while, with Todoroki getting increasingly frustrated. He realizes Izuku is just stalling him out. This is when Izuku points out something obvious to Todoroki. You're slowing down. Quirks are just physical abilities at the end of the day, so there are limits to the cold your body can take. Clearly, your ice is countered by my pressurized wind blasts and physical strength. Todoroki ignores this though, attempting to end it quickly with his ice, to no avail. Izuku continues to lecture him. I don't know if you realize this, but you haven't put a single scratch on me, Todoroki, and unlike in canon, Izuku actually has no scratches on him. Whereas in canon he says that, but he's banged up from his own use of One For All. Izuku then questions how he expects to be the best when he never does his best, how it's insincere to aim for the top at only 50% power. He finishes his speech with, "It's your power, not his." This lights a fire under Todoroki. Literally. He begins using his left side, which proves challenging to Izuku. He realizes his blast of wind only add oxygen to Todoroki's flames, fueling them. This leads to one final clash between a Fury Blast from Todoroki and Izuku's signature technique, Hurricane Izuku, Category 3. Izuku notices that his wind is still fueling Todoroki's flames, and decides on one last-ditch effort. He needs enough force to completely blow away the flame. To do this, Deku winds his arm back, charging up a Delaware Smash before launching it at the flame, full power, dispelling it. While this does break Izuku's arm for the first time in a while, it also leaves Todoroki open for the Hurricane Izuku to land true, knocking Todoroki out of bounds. This would move Deku to the next round against Ida, who after recovering with the Recovery Girl beats the Speedy Nerd by using his aerial advantages to dodge attacks and swoop back in with air bullets in One For All, turning it into a game of hit and run until Ida is unable to move, advancing him to the final match against his longtime rival turned sort of friend, Bakugo. Deku's clashes with Bakugo is extremely close, with pressurized air and explosions clashing everywhere. Some people in the stands even comment that their match looks like a clash between those two vegetable people from the manga series Dragon Ball. Cheap Dragon Ball reference aside, Izuku and Bakugo's match ends similarly to Izuku and Todoroki's. They decide to clash Hurricane Izuku with Bakugo's newly developed Howitzer Impact. This clash is incredibly close, and at first glance it looks like it could go either way. But due to Izuku's enhanced strength for One For All, he has just the strength required to push him to victory. He lands on the stage with a passed out Bakugo on the floor beside him, hand held high, like All Might. The crowd erupts into cheer, aside from the display of this boy with immense potential to be the next All Might. and this is where we'll be leading the story for today. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment your thoughts and opinions below, and have yourself a good one. Ice Scale out.